You'd be forgiven for thinking this was some football transfer story. But this is not about Cristiano, it's about Ilya and Jan, and the absurd race to sign the best transformer whisperers money can buy. Meta's throwing down $300 million compensation packages. Meanwhile, Apple's recruiting in absolute silence. And Anthropic, they poached OpenAI's alignment squad and gave them the keys to the data center. You know it's serious when a bloke with a PhD in lost functions gets a better deal than a striker in Saudi Arabia. Welcome to Football Manager, Silicon Valley edition. Except the pitch is GPU clusters. The ball is your fine-tuning dataset. The playmakers, they are Sam, Zuck, and Jensen. And trust me, this is just a warm-up. Look, I get it. You're not a developer. You just want your AI to write cleaner emails. Maybe run a few workflows, not start a GPU bidding war. But here's the thing. Whether you're building tools or just using them, you are standing on the shoulders of whoever trained your model. And right now, those shoulders belong to a handful of developers who've quietly become the most expensive talent in tech. This channel, Automation Allies. I'm yours. We test, build, and occasionally break the smartest workflows on the internet. And if you're already inside our school, you know the drill. If not, links are below. Let's get into it. So there used to be a time where founders were tech royalty, visionary, charismatic, occasionally barefoot. Startups revolved around them. Investors lined up just to back the honey. Now the founder's job is to beg the only person who understands transformers to reply to their DM. The developer isn't pitching anymore, the founder is. If the developer says no, there's no startup. No developer, no product. No product, no hype. No hype, no $100 million pre-seed valuation. Alright, the draft has begun. Meta's throwing down 9-figure package deals to lure OpenAI's alignment team. Anthropic already signed half the squad. Apple is playing silent mode as usual, but word is they've built a GPU cathedral in Cupertino. No leaks, just NDAs and incense. And then there's Elon. Grok 4 just dropped. Faster, sharper, public this time. It's not just a model release either, it's a recruitment magnet. Think of it like launching a sports team when announcing open tryouts with $100 million and infinite tokens. These companies, they aren't just building models anymore, they're drafting rosters, because if you control the devs, you control the future. So here's the billion-dollar question. What are these AI superstars actually built? Let's take a look. Lovable, or $150 million to make your software more emotionally intelligent. Think Notion meets journaling, meets slightly awkward hugs. Glean, the AI knowledge layer of your dreams, which is a fancy way of saying Slackbot with receipts. And then there's Anysphere. But this one's actually spicy. It's a terminal native code IDE with memory, context awareness, and more tab completion than your typing speed can handle. Some of these tools, they are legitimately brilliant. Others, they're barely a Chrome extension in a Figma trench coat. But not all this action is happening in San Francisco. Kimi K2, for example, a trillion parameter beast from Moonshot AI in China, built by devs for devs. It hits 65.8% on the SWE bench and runs locally if you have 2 Mac studios flying around. It's less pitch deck, more infrastructure. Yes, the valuations are wild, but beneath the pitch decks and the pastel moonboards, the tech is actually ridiculous. Kimi K2 has 1.6 trillion parameters, MOE architecture, runs locally, costs 20,000 euros to host. That's less than a week work deposit for most of these startups. Meanwhile, GPT-5, leaked slides, puts us at 2 trillion parameters with 10 to 20 times the training compute of GPT-4. It's not just scale, it's the efficiency. We're seeing models score above 80 on ARC-AGI, touch 90 plus on HellaSwag. So yes, the money's absurd, but so is the capability curve. And when a dev can drop a model into local interference and outperform your Series A product in an afternoon, maybe the valuations aren't the craziest part. So what do we actually know about GPT-5? The slide was quietly leaked online. No branding, but it shows something serious. If real, it's the largest model we've ever seen, not in size, but in scope. It's trained on everything: text, images, audio, code, the lot. And it's designed not for chat, but for autonomous agents. This isn't the model you use to draft emails. This is the one you fine-tune, API chain, and deploy in your production pipelines. Which raises the question, by the way, will you even get access? Because if GPT-5 is really that powerful, we may never see a public playground. You'll get the smaller versions, the aligned versions, the baby set ones, basically, unless you're a top-tier developer working at one of the labs. The future of models like this may be invite only. Now, while GPT-5 looms in the clouds, Grok 4 just landed on Earth. It's fast, it's live, it's public, and it's Elon's not so subtle attempt to woo developers without an OpenAI badge. No, it won't outperform GPT-4, but it gets you most of the way there at a fraction of the latency. It's not a toy, it's a test. A developer-friendly model pushed live with solid benchmarks and minimal red tape. For a so-called free speech model, it's surprisingly productive. Meanwhile, quietly in China, a new contender has entered the ring. It's called Kimi K2 from a company called Moonshot. It's not just big, it's runnable. That's GPT-4 level performance running in your office. You don't need a data center, you don't need an API key, just 2 Mac Studios and maybe a power hungry personality. And this is what happens when developers build for developers. Alright, so here's what's going to change for you. If you can build, you now have leverage. You're not just consuming content anymore, you're deploying agents, running code pipelines, automating entire income streams before lunch. And if you're barely technical, it doesn't matter. The tooling now is stupidly good. A few prompts, a visual editor, a locally hosted model, boom, you've built something real. And if you're watching this, you're already ahead of 90% of the people using AI right now. The tools are ready, the models are live. The only thing missing is builders with taste. So if that's you, welcome. Sure, people are calling it a bubble. They said the same about the internet. You can overpay for a startup, yes, but you can't overrate what it does. Agents are taking meetings, building campaigns, deploying full product stacks. Entire companies are being run by just 3 people alone and 30 processes. This isn't about hype anymore. It's about scale, and it's accelerating. So you can watch on or you can ride along. It's up to you. All right, let's call it. This is the age of code Galácticos. They're not influencers. They're not founders in fleece vests. They are low-key, Discord native builders. People who fine-tune transformers in between coffee runs. And whether you are writing the models or just automating your workflows with them, you are part of this shift. This channel, Automation Allies, is where we map it out. One workflow, one experiment, one slightly cursed tool at a time. So if your brain's buzzing, good. Subscribe, join the school, steal some workflows. And if you're already building, then I'll see you on the leaderboard.